Hey guys, what is up? It's Oliver3917 back with another video. So today we're going to be tackling some PS5 things. We're going to be tackling like the pricing of the console, the accessories, potential bundles, all of that good stuff. So before we start, just remember, please like, subscribe. If you do that, it means the world. And yeah, well, let's get right into it. So, first thing we're going to be discussing is the pricing of the console. So, there's a lot of price rumors going on around there. I've heard from like $400 to like $1,000, So, we're just going to be tackling like sort of 2 or 3 sort of like main ones, which I've heard, and they're all within like a $300 range kind of thing. So, the first one we're going to be tackling is that the PS5 might be, it might be like 400 to 450 bucks. So that's one. The second one is that it may be 450 to 500, 500 to 550, and finally 550 to 600. So those are sort of the 4 main price rumors I've heard going around. So I'm going to sort of give my thoughts on each individual pricing thing. And of course, the reason it's between like 1 and 2 numbers, of course, because there's the digital and the physical edition, and my guess is that the digital will be less expensive by $50 to $100 more or less than the PS5 with the 4K Blu-ray disc drive. So, okay, so here's my thinking for 400 to 450 bucks. So, I'm sure that some of you guys have heard the rumors that the PS5 is going to be undercut by the Xbox Series X by like a lot, or at least I've heard that rumor floating around by like, the PS5 might be like 550 and the Xbox is going to be like 400. And supposedly a lot of people think that Xbox has learned from their mistakes, and so they're going to do, they're going to sort of try to undercut the PS5. And as of right now, the 2 companies are playing a game of chicken, right? They're sort of waiting for the other one to release price, and then the other one's going to swoop in from underneath and lower their price on their console. So, here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that $400 to $450, if Sony is very confident, like if they think we're going to win this thing, there's no way we can lose, I think they're going to do 400 to 450, right? Just because that would be, they would have to be pretty confident in knowing that they can make their money back from sort of like games revenue and just sort of all that kind of stuff. But I think it's pretty doubtful. The second one I think is a bit more reasonable, which it would be 450 to 500. And I think if Sony is like, we're pretty sure we're gonna win this, but there is a chance that the Xbox Series X will win, right? I think that 400 to 450 is the way to go, because that way it's more versatile, right? And also, you guys have to remember, in terms of like tax and shipping and whatnot, you're going to be paying like an extra 50 bucks estimatedly in terms of tax for the PS5. So that's an important thing to keep in mind as well. So if you're buying, like, let's say the PS5 is you buy the physical edition for 550 bucks, right? There is a good chance that you'll end up paying 600 to like 610, 20 because of tax and shipping and whatnot. So be prepared for that, right? Be prepared for it to be a bit more expensive than the price tag says. Plus like PlayStation Plus and games. But anyways, then next price rumor, 550 to 600 bucks. I could potentially, I feel like this is probably the most realistic one. I mean, 500, 550 would be nice, and I could see it happening. But they have also stressed multiple times that they are planning to try to, they're going to attempt to like sort of, they're going to prioritize quality over like price, which I essentially think is sort of their way of saying that they want to, like, they want it to be able, like, they want people to buy it, but they're going to try to, make the price, you're gonna get what you pay for it. So it's, if you pay 600 bucks, then it's gonna be for high quality stuff. So I think, I'd probably be willing to ship, maybe like 650 bucks, but if it gets over that, I might not. We will see. So those are sort of the three main price rumors. So next, we're going to be covering sort of some pricing with the controller, like, buying extra controllers for your console, and also the accessories, because as you guys might know, at sort of their E3 kind of convention, right, they showed a lot of games. They showed like indie games, they showed some pretty big titles. Personally, I'm most excited for Resident Evil Village. I really liked Resident Evil 7. I thought it had a really compelling story. And it looks like they might continue on a bit with that, because they have some of the same characters from what I saw. So, that's interesting. I was also excited for Horizon Zero Dawn and Hitman 3. Those were both pretty cool. Also, the Spider-Man game, which I think I might discuss in a bit. But anyways, back to the sort of the accessories. So my thinking is that, the controllers, right? We've seen the controller, we saw before, we saw the console, and what I think is, they're probably gonna make it like 80 to 100, or maybe 100 to 120 on release. Okay, I think within the first year it's gonna go down to 80, maybe even 70 or 60. So that is a thing. And then in terms of sort of the accessories that they showed a wireless headset, they showed a sort of camera, they showed a charging stand, and they showed a TV remote. So here's what I think. I think that the charging pad, here's the thing. So I've heard rumors that some people think it is wireless, and I think that is potentially a thing, but I kind of doubt it. And essentially what I think if it is wireless, it'll probably be like 40 to 50, and if it is wireless, it'll probably be 70 to 80, and if it is wired, it'll probably be sort of like, I guess maybe in the 40 to 50 range, maybe 50 to 60. That seems kind of unlikely. So, that is a thing. Then, also so now for the headset. So the headset, was the thing I thought looked the coolest. It looked very, very sleek, very sort of PS5, right? And so I thought that looks pretty interesting. But because it looks like it looks pretty comfortable, it's new, it is wireless, it's going to be expensive. There's no doubt in my mind. Maybe 300, but safest guess, this is my estimate, 400 bucks, maybe even 450. We'll just have to wait and see. But regardless, that thing's going to be expensive, but it's probably, I'm going to try to pick that thing up, because, one thing that Sony has really stressed is that they're going to have really good 4K, very nice sound, right? That's one of their main selling points. I'm not sure if you guys remember this, but maybe 5 or 6 months back, at the beginning of 2020, they had a conference where they discussed, it was I think it was a developer conference, right? So there weren't any games, it didn't really show anything crazy, right? But it did talk about a lot of sort of, things which they were going to include in the console, and sort of some specs. And one thing they did really stress was the audio, right? They made sure that you knew that the audio was going to be quite impressive. And here's my thoughts on that. I think that if you want to pick up that headset, which I personally do, you're going to need to be prepared to at first scoff at the amount of money you're going to have to pay for it. So, just be prepared for a high price. But my guess is that thing is optimized for, maximizing the audio quality of the console. So I would say be ready for big price, but a lot of good stuff to come from it. Now, next we're going to be tackling the camera. So if you look at the camera, it looks pretty cool in my opinion. It looks like a more sleek kind of version of the first one. If you guys don't know, there's actually a camera which you can get for, I think, $100. It's kind of expensive for for the PS5, for the PS4. And that thing is, doesn't have the best quality in the world, but it's good for if you want to do some basic streaming, and also if you want to be able to do like PSVR, or there's also a facial recognition thing. I have a camera for my PSVR. I think it is, like, I think that they might use that to their advantage. I think also, this may be sort of a way of, we saw that, and we also saw a Ash Robot Adventure game at the conference, which suggests to me that they are going to try to do VR, PSVR 2, or just, they've already confirmed that it is backwards compatible, the PSVR, or forwards compatible, I guess, where the PSVR will be able to be used on the PS5, but they haven't really delved into that much detail. So I am waiting on that. But anyways, so that is a thing. And finally, just the controller. I think that the controller is, or not the controller, or like the TV controller. That thing, my guess, 40 to 50, maybe 60, but I doubt it. 40 to 50 is my guess. And essentially, what I'm thinking is that I would say there's a pretty good chance that they are sort of, they're going to use that. They might have, this sounds weird, but they might have like actual TV so you can watch like channels on there. I could see that being a thing. But it might just be a remote for, if you're watching Hulu or Netflix. So, I could probably see that happening. So that is, that's there. So next we're going to be talking about sort of like the console rivalry and the dynamic between the two consoles, Xbox Series X and PS5. So here's what I think that I think that, as I said, there's kind of, the Xbox Series X and the PS5 are playing a sort of weird game of chicken where they are waiting for the other console to unveil the price, so the console, whether it's the Xbox Series X or the PS5, can swoop in from underneath and just make their console less expensive. And that's sort of why I was discussing the price. But here's what I think. I think that Xbox Series X, Microsoft has probably learned from, if you guys don't remember, that's sort of what happened last time. Xbox Series X made their console pretty expensive, and also there was the Kinect issue where on launch you couldn't buy a console without the Kinect, and that made a lot of people sort of not want to buy it, right? Because you were chipping in like an extra $100 for basically something that you didn't want. And so I think that Xbox Series X has probably learned from their mistakes. So I would say, even though both consoles are sort of playing the waiting game, I would not be surprised if Xbox manages to be if Sony folds first, right? And so I think that's probably, I think that would be something that could definitely happen. So, that's that. And, yeah, also, if you guys don't, I think that the Xbox, I think, in my opinion at least, this might be controversial, well, I'm sure it is, but in my opinion, the PS4, and I am a PS4 owner, but I try to be as fair as possible in these kinds of things. I feel like the PS4 won this just with their sheer sort of exclusives, and I feel like they had a few less fiascos, like sort of a few less big issues that got to the media about the PS5. That's not to say that they didn't have their ups and downs, but I think that they did kind of win this one. But anyways, so here's another thing I want to tackle, which is backwards compatibility, because one of the biggest things that made Xbox such a big deal when it came out was that it had very good backwards compatibility. I'm pretty sure you can play Xbox 360 and maybe even Xbox, like the original Xbox games, but I don't know for sure. So, that is very possible. But, anyways, so, that is, Sony has said that they are working on sort of libraries, and of course, it is a pretty drastic testing thing, because, they have to go through Sony's giant library of games and individually test each one for backwards compatibility, which, of course, is kind of it's tough to do. So, I think that, Microsoft may potentially win the backwards compatibility war just because they're generally more trusted in terms of backwards compatibility. Like, I'm a PS4 player, but I still, like, Sony has PS Now, but that's not really, you know, it's not really it's not a difference, you know? So I think that if PS5 can really nail the backwards compatibility home, then I think they do have a chance of sort of people being like, oh, well, I want to try this because it has backwards compatibility. But we'll just have to wait and see, you know? So, that's the thing. So, also, you know, I also want to talk about some potential launch games. So, at the press conference, right, or just at the game, I don't know what to call it, like the mini E3, I guess. We did see sort of a lot of, we did see a pretty decent amount of games, which excited me. I think sort of the one that excited me the most was Resident Evil Village. I've played Resident Evil 3, or Resident Evil 7. I really like that. And it looks like they've got some characters, you know, some characters returning, so that will be interesting to see. And also, Horizon Zero Dawn 2 was a big one. You know, that looked very impressive. There were a lot of indie games, like, you know, like Bug Snacks, Little Devil Inside, those kinds of games. Those all looked pretty good as well, actually. You know, they were pretty nice. But, so that was the thing. Now, I think that there's also, I think I kind of expected to see a new Call of Duty game at this conference, and my reason being is that just like hours after the PS5 reveal console sort of game thing was postponed. If you guys don't remember, that was supposed to be on June 4th. Basically, that was postponed, and you know, that sucked because we had to wait like an extra week. But it was fine in the end. You know, I think Sony had a very incredible line of games to show their conference. And in my opinion, I think they did actually sort of, they did beat Microsoft in that. You know, Microsoft had a very underwhelming sort of conference. You know, they said they were going to have console gameplay, but they really didn't. So, you know, that was the thing. But regardless, so I think that was, you know, I think they blew the conference out of the water. But that's just me. But, you know, potential launch games, I could see, you know, getting back to the whole Call of Duty thing, you know, they postponed showing Season 4 of Warzone, I'm pretty sure, or whatever, like hours after the console was, the thing was delayed. So I could probably see them, you know, I kind of thought they were going to show that there. But there have been some rumors circulating that it's going to be Call of Duty Cold War. So I kind of expected to see that there. I also expected to see Battlefield 6, or I think it's going to be Battlefield Vietnam, but that's, you know, that might just be me. You know, there's no real way to tell. But essentially, so I expect to see those two games. I also kind of thought that, you know, so they did show the Spider-Man game, which I thought was really cool. I really liked it. And we didn't actually see really any gameplay. Well, I guess we did, but it was fairly cinematic. But anyways, yeah, so they showed that, which I thought was pretty impressive, pretty cool. They also showed a couple other games, Oddworld, that was a thing. But anyways, so moving back to the original point, so I think that we could also expect to see, or I guess not expect to see, but I would love to see this. I would like to see them do like sort of I think they should do The Last of Us Remastered and The Last of Us Part 2 bundle. Maybe not even a console bundle, just a game bundle. For, you know, for the PS5. And I could actually see them doing like a remastered of the original The Last of Us. Because, you know, that game was great. I loved it. But, you know, I could see that happening because it is a PS exclusive. So I could see that sort of being like the face of the console, because that is one of the, you know, it's considered one of the best games on, you know, PlayStation of all time, right? So I could see that happening. I could also see, like a new Fortnite coming out. That sounds bizarre, but I could see it happening. there's not too many games which those were sort of the games which I think could be there, but there's no real way to tell. So we'll just have to wait and find out. And then one last thing is sort of like before I sign out, potential bundles, right? So as we all know, usually Sony does some bundles with like launch games. So I'll bet you that there's going to be a Miles Morales Spider-Man one. I'll bet you that's going to be a thing. Maybe a Horizon Zero Dawn 2 one if we're lucky, but it's there's no real way of telling. Also, you do have to remember that they did say that they might be having some trouble with limited edition consoles, right? So that I could see that. They might just not be able to afford to do limited edition launch bundles because expensive. But so that is a thing. And I could also see like maybe a Resident Evil Village launch game. That would be great. I would probably buy that. But as I said, there is a decent chance that they just won't be able to do it because of just manufacturing stuff. But anyways, that is just about it. So I guess I will see you guys next time. And until then, don't forget to like and subscribe. I love you guys. And yeah.